All right, we are live on air tonight, and we're all so excited to be with you to talk about writing and Google stuff and plagiarism and just all kinds of stuff that we know English teachers are going to love. So, two of us, three of us. Carrie, were you ever an English teacher?
Well, I taught everything, so of course.
Yeah, okay. Well, Jessica and I were definitely English teachers, and Carrie was an English teacher too, and Brooke taught social studies. So we all have been in the situation of needing to evaluate student writing and needing to read and look at and take in a lot of student writing. It's one of the #1 things we hear from English teachers is how can we save time doing this? And so we have some things tonight that I think are going to make you guys really glad that you joined. And I hope you go back to school and share all of these ideas with your colleagues who teach English. And please share this video. So it'll be up on YouTube tomorrow. And at some point, sometime soon, we'll put the timings in so that people can skip to the parts they want to. That will be in the notes. All right, I'm going to go ahead and screen share our Taco Bout agenda for tonight so that you guys can see that. And you can get into this agenda with us, hopefully. So do you guys see that on your screens okay? Brooke and Carrie and
Yes.
Jessica? Okay.
I guess we're waiting for the people in the chat to say.
I don't think they're going to probably be talking.
Thursday evening, 8 o'clock. What did you do today? Waited for the people on the other side of the computer that can't talk back the answer.
They responded in the chat. So yes, they did respond.
Okay. All right. So I am going to put this agenda up here for just a minute and make it stick so that we don't switch back when we're talking so that you guys can get in here if you are interested in getting in this agenda with us. As you know, it will change and grow as we talk tonight, but we want to make sure everybody has a chance to get there. We have given you a couple of student sample essays to play around with tonight. This is real student writing. The names have been changed, but it should give you a chance to play around with the tools we're going to look at so that you can practice this real time and see what these tools do, because they're pretty exciting. Not going to lie, pretty exciting. All right, so let me say our agenda link a couple of times, and then I'm going to hand it over to Carrie. Do you have the version history document on your screen?
I'm about to put it up. Are you ready?
You go ahead and pull it up, and I'm going to say this agenda link a couple of times.
Okay,
and then
perfect.
I will switch over to you. So you can go ahead and screen share, and then I'll just switch right over to you. All right, so this agenda link, in case it's hard to like toggle back and forth between these two windows, is friEdTech/taco with a capital T, Bout with a capital B, writing with a capital W, agenda with a capital A. So it's long, but we find that people have an easier time typing in words, even if it's really long, than they do random odd characters. So there you go.
Amy, do you want me to plug that into the chat on the YouTube Live?
You can if you want to. It will not let you put http:// in there.
Okay.
But you may be able to put the rest of the URL. I can't actually remember if it lets you do that or not. It has a lot of controls in there.
It actually said no.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay. It's mean like that, isn't it? But we will put this in the notes of the YouTube video. So it is friEdTech/taco capital T, Bout capital B, writing capital W, agenda capital A. And it looks like Carrie is already over there with the version history document. So I am going to make her big on the screen. All right. Okay. Carrie and Brooke, it's all yours.
Okay, so earlier today, Brooke and I, we got together and we started a doc. And the cool thing about Google Docs is once you start a doc, you can always go in and check and see who's contributed to the doc. Even a timestamp is going to be available. And so if you go to File and Version History, you have two options here. The first option is to name the current version or to see the version history. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the version history because I want y'all to see what we have so far. So earlier today when I started it, it time-stamped it at 12:43. And then right here where it says Carrie's work, that's where I actually named the version history. That way I could show you all the difference. So if I click on this, it's going to show you that, I put in a couple of colored boxes in my table, and then I put in this information. But if I skip here where we have Brooke's name, we can see that Brooke went in and added information about Brooke. We pronounce the dog's name, the brand of dog.
The brand. Belanca.
The brand. It's the brand. Belanca. Okay.
Hey, Carrie, I want to ask you something. It's a question I get all the time, and I'm sure you do too. Like, did you type that? I mean, did you highlight all that stuff, that turquoise color, and how did you select that color to the left of your name, and how did Brooke pick purple?
I did not pick purple.
And I did not pick blue. So Google automatically assigns a color to everyone, and you don't get to pick or change it. Sorry. But when you see on this October 11th, 1:17 p.m., you can see that Brooke joined here, and this is all of the things that Brooke did in purple. So anyone that's on this doc, they're automatically going to have their own color, and you can see all the different things that they did. Now, if you skip here, I saved this version to Brooke when she was complete, and this was everything that she put in there. So, and then if you look here, I added more. So it's going to show that and show everything that I added at that time. So.
She had to compete with my dog cuteness there. Did y'all see that?
And of course I did.
That's not Reese in that picture, by the way.
It looks like her, though, but that is Mako. So, but I really like this because say that I started this and I want to maybe make a copy of this. At this point, I could revert back to this version. So maybe I'm working with a group and then I just kind of want to pause and go back to it. I can hit this and go back. I could print this maybe, or I can come over here and I can rename that to a different name. Maybe another person jumps on it this time. I could say, okay, this is Brooke and Amy's work. I could make a copy from here. So lots of different options when it comes to version history. And it's funny that we were talking about this tonight because on Monday I was at a school and this lady was like, Carrie, I work with co-teachers on docs all the time and I never know when they're adding things. She's like, how can I see that? And I was like, oh my gosh, all you have to do is go to version history. And that was super helpful to her because she knew what her teammates had changed, what they had added, and she could just quickly see by color over here what her teammates were doing and at what time of the day. So that was very helpful for her.
Hey, Carrie.
Yes.
Also, another thing to look at, click on the little black triangles next to your name. When you click on that black triangle, it's going to break down by the minute everything that happened in that doc. So it automatically groups timestamps together into little working groups so that it's not minute by minute. So if you are looking and you're like, no, that's not, I know that was there at a certain time. Click that little black triangle to get a more detailed look at those timestamps.
Mm-hmm. And obviously these are great for group work. If you have a group of like 4 kids working together on a single doc and you want to see, when everyone's working, what's going on. If you have a kiddo that questions, I did more work than everyone else. This is an easy way to go in and check everything. So thanks for telling me about that, Brooke. So we can see every little thing that Brooke did from 12:51 or 1:07 all the way down to 1:17.
And so another thing when we're talking about writing, this is just an example of how to use version history. But when we think about our actual writing pieces and compositions, we have a rough draft, we have editing, we have peer editing, then you move into your next draft, and then you will then move into the final draft. And I think with writing, that is really where we're going to see the version history stand out, because the teacher can go in and have the students go in and name each of those versions, the rough draft, first draft, after peer editing draft, and they're going to be able to go in and see each of those pieces. Jessica, Amy, is that what you guys are seeing as well?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, so what you were just saying, I was going to talk about that actually, because in our district, we're kind of focusing on the writing process. And instead of, since Google Docs saves on its own, we've kind of gotten, I would say, a little bit comfortable not having to use the save button. But teaching your students to go to the version history and naming their version, whether it's by date, whether it's by rough draft, first draft, second draft, all that stuff, throughout the process, they're kind of documenting where they are. And so at the end of the process, you can go back and kind of have a quick timeline of the way that the student's writing has progressed. I think that's really useful.
Yeah,
I want to say something about that too, because this is something that Jessica and I have really dealt with a whole lot lately. And that is that Sipho ISD is using Google Docs for their writing portfolios. So I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but in Texas, within the next couple of years, every student's writing is going to be evaluated by a portfolio instead of by a standardized test. So I'm really happy about that. Sipho's chosen to, what do you call it, Jessica? Where they do this, but they don't have to yet, pilot, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they've decided to pilot this technique this year so that, when this really happens, they're not going to be, trying to make this happen in such a huge school district with everyone. So what we're doing for writing portfolios is students are turning those essays in through Classroom, but before they turn it in, they are going into version history and they're labeling that version, for example, like Brooke said, first draft, second draft, whatever, so that they have that portfolio intact. Jessica, did I explain that right?
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
Okay.
And, that's also like a skill that our kids don't have because they've gotten so used to not having to save. So it is really something that you have to take time to teach them how to access version history, where to click to name it and all that good stuff. Because if you don't, like you just say, go name your version, they're kind of confused by that. So that's definitely a learning curve, even for the teachers, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I think so too. I just want to show y'all another example really fast of a version history just because I think it's kind of interesting. So this is a document that's got like 30 people or something like that in it. Look at this time. Look at August 6, 9:47. So this is not just for when you have two writers. If you want to have everybody in the class communicate with each other, and I don't know if you guys can see this, it's kind of small, but this color coding is that detailed that if somebody did type something they weren't supposed to, I can go back to that moment in time and I can find their text in that color, which this is kind of hard because people change their text color, but I can find that point in time and see who typed that. So it's very, very robust. It's extremely well done, and there's nothing that can change it. And that's really good for writing teachers because you can see writing grow over time.
Yeah, and I want to just add, this is another thing that I really love about version history, especially from the teacher point of view, and is I can restore back to my original version, name my original version, have my students work in it. The next class period come in, it'll look like it's brand new to them and they can work. And at the end of the day, even though I restore to that original version, I can still go back in my version history and see what happened before I restored it to that original version. It keeps all the history of that doc, no matter if you restore or not.
So I never thought about that.
Looking at it.
Are you saying that so you would have a first period come in, and at the end of first period, you would name that version first period, but then you would revert it back to the original document?
Yes.
Oh,
that's a great idea.
Yeah, it is a great idea.
And then at the end of the day, I could go through and look and have the entire day worth of history inside of my version history and make copies from there without having to have 6 different docs.
I really
Very
thought
cool.
about doing that. Yeah, that's a great idea.
I do it with training all the time. When I have another session come in, I just restore everything to the original version. And so that new crew coming in, that way my bit.lys don't change. They can get to the document quick and easy. I don't have to have 5 versions for 5 different sections.
That's smart.
You're so smart.
You are so smart.
Look, I shared.
Thank you for sharing, Brooke.
We've been working on that.
All right. Can I talk about suggesting mode?
Yes, please.
Sure.
I'm so excited. I didn't ask
I
y'all.
need some more help with that, so I'm excited.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to present my screen again then, so I can talk about suggesting mode because I love it. And I was actually at one of the Google offices one time, and I had some people who work at Google in the audience, and I showed suggesting mode, and several of them told me they did not know that was possible before. So I'm always really excited to share it with people because I think a lot of people don't know it exists or else don't know what it does. And it's really great for peer editing.
Hey, Amy, hold on 1 second. We got people saying they can't see anything.
Uh-oh.
Efren and Ruth, you're both saying that you can't see anything. Is that right still? Okay. Okay, never mind.
Oh, they didn't see my example with 30 people.
Oh.
I bet maybe I didn't do my screen share right. Sorry about that, y'all. I will take a screenshot of that and pull it up in just a minute. All right, so, but you guys do see my love bug document here where we're going to look at suggesting mode. Okay,
Yes.
great. Efren says yes. Okay, so suggesting mode. The reason why suggesting mode won't work for teachers, I'll show you in just a minute. This really is great though for peer editing. So this is how you go into suggesting mode. Up in the top right of your document where there's the little editing pencil, you click the down arrow right there and you switch it to suggesting and it will turn green. And depending on your screen size, this button could be bigger and actually say suggesting mode. I've got mine kind of shrunken down right now. So once you're in suggesting mode, everything that you type is going to be a suggestion. Everything that you press on the keyboard is going to be a suggestion. And at first it feels really awkward, but you'll get used to it soon. So let's say I want to let my student know that through has an OU in the middle of it. So I clicked in the middle of the word, I typed OU, and what happens is the suggestion on the side is automatically created to add OU. Now, this is another thing for those of you guys who do PD, and I know there are a lot of you watching who do PD. This is the thing that confuses people when you teach them. This is twofold. One, they don't understand that you do the suggestion by typing in the document, not by using the comment button. The other thing that confuses people is they put in the suggestion and then they want to go and click the check mark. And you have to remind them, the writer, the person whose name is up here, that's the person who's going to choose whether to click the check mark or the reject suggestion. So I'm going to show you a couple more examples and then I want to show you why this won't work, why this is not a good strategy for teachers. So you see here, there is surprise with triple exclamation points. It's a common thing students do. Teachers always laugh a little bit when I show them that because they see it every single day. So suggesting mode, since I want to suggest that he get rid of these, I'm highlighting over them and I'm hitting delete on my keyboard. I can also suggest things like if I want to suggest a new paragraph, I just put my mouse where I want the new paragraph to be and hit enter, and I will get an add paragraph suggestion. Okay, are you all with me on what suggesting mode does so far?
Yeah, and I'm just sitting here in awe.
It's really cool, isn't it?
It really is.
So few people use this mode or even really know that it exists, even people who are really into Google. All right, so I've got some suggestions in here. And teachers sometimes, especially teachers who are new to teaching writing, will get really excited about this. And they think, okay, I'm going to be able to take all of my paper marking and make it digital. Well, yes, you can. But here's the problem. What is your student going to do when you, the teacher, have added in all of these helpful suggestions into this paper?
Accept, accept, accept.
Yes. Accept, 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 accept. Is he or she reading those suggestions?
No.
Thinking about why he or she is? No, because they trust you. Right. I mean, why would Miss Mayer put an H in the middle of overwhelming if there wasn't one? Of course, I'm going to accept it. So that's why don't use it for grading papers. We're going to show you a better strategy for that in just a little while. Jessica is. But this is what you use it for. What you use it for is peer editing, and you want to put people together who are of a similar writing capability. So you don't want to put your A+ student with your C- student, because the C- student is going to say accept, accept, accept to everything, because he or she knows that that A+ student probably knows better than him or her. So this is what you want to do. You have your student who is going to be accepting the peer editing. You have that person type in their peer editor's email address. So I think, Jessica, you're using your friedtraining.com account right now. All right. So by default, this is an editing pencil right here. But do not let your student writers give anyone else besides you edit access to their file. You tell them, when I go into version history, I want to see one person's name. I want it to be yours. Anyone else is going to have can comment. Because if I give my peer editor, Jessica, can comment options, she's going to be able to use suggesting mode and comments in this paper. So when I send this to her, she has all the access she needs to help me as a writer, but I am making the decisions about whether to accept or reject. What do y'all think? Do you like this idea?
We all wait to see Jessica magically appear.
There she is. She's so fast.
I was waiting, anticipating.
If you've ever watched Netflix, Jane the Virgin, there's a narrator. And if you binge watch it, you catch yourself wanting to be a narrator in real life to every.
Yes, I have watched that show.
So here I am wanting to narrate this like the telenovela.
Yes. Okay, so let's go look now. Let me accept her suggestion, and then let's go look at the version history and see what happened in the version history. So now I see exactly what that person typed. They're not writing the paper, but I see exactly what happened. Do you guys see it?
Yes.
That's pretty cool, huh?
Got some things on my mind.
Yeah.
Those who are watching, feel free to jump on the chat and let us know if that was new for you. Sharon says that her mind is blown.
Oh, good.
So I feel like if we blow Sharon's mind,
right, we did our job tonight.
Success. Yes.
You know, Amy, what you were saying earlier about how it kind of confuses people. I used this this summer in one of my online classes, and I made a video, and I thought, you know, I'm explaining it well, and I'm being very clear and taking it slow, and now they can go do their own thing. And when I got all the assignments back, they had done just what you said. They had like accepted their own comments.
Right.
They had highlighted things and left comments on the side. It was like the green bars meant nothing. I mean, it was a mess in there, and I was like, okay, let's reteach.
Right. I have taught that Beyond the Red Pen class now, like
a million.
I don't know. Yeah, I think I've had like seriously like 1,500 people have taken that class now, and so I know exactly what they're going to do when people come in and learn about suggesting mode. And it is, I mean, it's awkward at first, but it's just one of those things that's really worth it to learn.
Well, and we even saw recently, we were in a meeting and someone called out someone else and said, he edited your document. You gave him editing rights. And we were like, what? We didn't have editing rights on that. And we went in to look, and he had just made a suggestion, and everybody in the room thought that they had edited the document. So
yes, that happened when we were at CDW. Yeah, and we were like, how's this? We thought we messed up the permissions or something. We were both kind of freaking out, looking at each other like, oh my God, what do we do? And I thought, well, I did it. You know, like if it's screwed up, I know I did it. It wasn't Brooke, it was me.
Yeah, right. But that was nice to say on live YouTube.
All right, I want to show y'all one more thing before I switch over back to Jessica this time, and that is the first way that I want to show you to look for plagiarism in student writing. So we're going to look at a much more sophisticated way than this, but this is going to be at least the first way. So this is a real student essay, and it is not plagiarized, but I took a paragraph right down here from Wikipedia, and I copied it and pasted it into this essay just so you could see what it looks like in version history. If a student did this, I really probably wouldn't call it plagiarism, because it clearly is just, it lacks a quote, or in this case, an indentation, which, you know, this is way too much to take from another source anyway, but I mean, you guys get it. So when I go into File Version History now, and I see version history, and I scroll down and I start to look at what this paper looks like, I hope this is the right version of it that I've got pulled up here. Y'all. I think what I did is I did not use the original paper. This is a copy, so I'm not seeing it. Let me try that again. When I go into version history, what I should see is all of this text right here looking like this. So first of all, it all appears at 827. Nobody can type this fast, right? That's the first thing that I notice. The second thing that I notice is that it all appears at one single moment in time. It's all bam in one moment. There's not even a down arrow on that. So I know immediately that this is copied and pasted text. Does that make sense, y'all? So it's not sophisticated, but it's a way, and kids usually aren't very sneaky when they do things like this. And if this student did this, it wouldn't even be intentional plagiarism. It would just be a time to talk about, you know, why we don't copy and paste text into a paper like that.
Yep.
I totally agree with that, because that's, I mean, you have a student who turns something in that all of a sudden you're like, I knew that student could do that. Usually it's 3 or 4 paragraphs, and today I got 12 pages.
Right, right. And then
I'm not saying it's all students, but just check the version history and see if it appeared in 3 minutes.
I feel like my students always thought that I was magical because I would read their essay and be like, you didn't write this part. And they'd be like, how do you know that?
Right.
And it's like, because I read your writing every day and I know how you write, and you don't write like that. There are no spelling errors or grammatical errors in this whole paragraph. So it's not you. But anyway, yeah, I did feel sort of like they thought I was a musician anyway. A magician, I mean, not a musician. They never felt like that. Okay.
Somebody in the chat was talking about draft back.
Yes.
That's a really cool add-on.
Add that to the agenda.
Yes, put that in there. That is a great one. So will somebody tell what it does? It's really cool.
It kind of makes like an animated, I guess not a movie file, but an animated moving time. I don't know. I'm having a hard time with language right now.
Well, it is 8:30 at night. So.
It is. But it kind of just like it kind of strings everything together and makes this one visual of how the document has changed over time. And it's almost like a movie. You just hit the play button and it shows the document growing and changing and how long it takes and all that good stuff.
Is it an extension? I can't remember.
It is. Yeah, I'm looking at in Chrome Store right now, which I think is awesome because I've heard about it and I've seen it, but I try to make time-lapse videos from the version history all the time in Google Draw to show the thought process behind Google Draw that kids do. And I just literally screencast and use the up arrow on my keyboard to make those. And now you're telling me that I maybe just could have installed an extension.
But I don't know if it works. I don't think it works in anything except for Docs. I might be wrong about that.
Only in Docs.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's only in Docs.
I was just thinking, and here I thought I was onto something, but
you have not wasted time, Brooke Lowry.
Cool. I'm excited about that. Moving on.
All right. Next on our agenda is RaiCue, and I'm going to switch over to Jessica now, and she is going to screen share to you guys. And this, I think, Jess, can you make your screen more like 16 by 9? It'll give us a better view of what you're looking at.
You just asked me for a tall order, Mayor. I don't know what that means.
So you know the shape of a slide? It's either 4 by 3 or 16 by 9. If you stretch your screen long ways, there you go, like that.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, we see a better view of it. Okay. Thanks. That looks great. Okay, so Jess, tell us about RaiCue. You're the first person I ever saw demo this, and so I immediately thought of you when I thought we got to show this to teachers.
So in our district, we are using the Read and Write for Google Chrome extension from the company TextHelp. And we learned this summer that they have a new product out there. It's totally free. And it's a writing assistant sort of, a writing rubric sort of program. I had been using some stuff in the past that was a freemium, so there was always the likelihood that it would go away. But with RaiCue, it's going to be free from TextHelp for anybody. And they're really putting a lot of energy into developing it. So what RaiCue is it is an add-on for Docs. So to get it, you would have to go to add-ons, and you need to get add-ons. And this is how it's spelled. I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see my magnified screen?
Yeah, we can't see it magnified, but we can see that it says RaiCue.
Okay, it's W-R-I and the letter Q. Now, I want to give you guys a heads up. If you look in the Talk About agenda, Amy has linked to the directions from TextHelp. Definitely don't do it right now because you'll have to restart your browser. But you definitely go take a look at those instructions because you're going to have to do a few things in order to make the RaiCue install. So once you go to get add-ons and you find it and you install it, when you come to use it, it's going to say, like, are you a teacher or student? So you make sure you tell it you're a teacher. And then beyond that, you have to put in your school and your state and everything. So when Amy and I were working on this with my district earlier this school year, we ran into this problem where nobody could sign up. They couldn't hit the submit button. Turns out you have to have a G+ account that's been created with your Google login. And once you do that, you have to actually get out of the browser, delete yourself from your computer and get back into your browser. So those of you out there who are watching right now, if you're trying to do that step, you're going to get knocked out of the to the video, so I wouldn't suggest doing it right this second. But definitely when you're getting ready to get started with it, you just keep in mind you're going to need to go start your G+ profile, and then you'll have to like relaunch your browser.
Jess, I think maybe they fixed that because I just installed it into one of my accounts this week and I didn't experience what we did this summer. So it could be fixed.
I wish that it was fixed, but just before this webinar began, I had to install it in my Fried Training account. And that was the problem. So you might have already at one point in history,
maybe so.
I don't know. Just know ahead of time, guys, if you're trying to add it, that's something you might run.
But it's worth it. Like not everything is worth it. This is worth it.
Yes. So here's what it does. I'm in a document that Amy's student we're sharing with Amy's student, and I go to launch RaiCue. I click Show RaiCue, and it's going to open up a little window in the sidebar, and it's checking my registration right now. So I'm the teacher, and I make sure it has my name here. And then the main writer, this box right here, this is going to be gleaned from the actual document itself. So because this is a copy of that, because I'm the owner of this document, but if my student had shared it with me, they would be the owner of it, and their name would appear here where it says main writer. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then I get to choose the grade, and that's going to be whatever grade that I'm choosing is going to depend on the kind of rubric that I have. And then I have to select what kind of genre. I haven't even read this. Is this a narrative?
Yes, it's a narrative.
Once I choose that, I should be able to score the document. Now, I'll say as it's doing its business here, I wouldn't necessarily use the score that it gives as the score I put in a grade book, for instance, but I would definitely use the metrics to kind of help me guide my decisions as a teacher. So you see that it kind of gave a score. It gave me some little metrics here I can take a look at. You know, I don't know about you, Amy, but the word count business, like I always hated that whenever teachers are like, it must be 500 words.
Yeah, me too. I'm not a big fan of that at all.
Yeah, because 453, it's close enough.
Right.
So on the left here, you'll see that it shows us the text and it kind of highlights things. Now, obviously, there's no error where it's green, but look where it's yellow. That's a spelling error. So it's looking and it's kind of thinking these could be spelling errors, but this is definitely a spelling error. So you can just scan through it and kind of see. And some choices that are going to be considered wrong by the robot grader might be choices that the writer makes, and they're okay. And we can say, no, it's no problem. We can say clear.
Did you see how right here also you can add in, like, click on a space where you might put a comma, for example.
Okay.
Like click, will it let you click up a little higher than that? Or is that all it gives you there?
I think that's all it gives me right there.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see though, you can. Okay, so let's say there should have been a comma right there. You can click punctuation right there.
Oh, yeah.
And then it will change that. Even though it didn't pick it up, if you think there ought to be something there, you can change all that right here.
Correct, yeah. So you can kind of go through and regrade, you know, if it counts something or marks something.
Right. I do like that time spent writing though. Like it won't work in this one because this is a copy of a document, but if this was a real document that a student had turned in through a classroom or whatever, I mean, if it says time spent writing too, something's terribly wrong.
Yes. Yes. And so notice as I'm changing things, it's kind of changing the numbers on the right-hand side. So eventually, if these numbers change enough, then it's going to change the RaiCue score. It was a 97, and now it's a 96. I don't know if you'll notice that. So, okay, so we've gone. Oh, go ahead.
It's just crazy. Like, I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking about, I mean, I taught third grade as well, but when I think about just even using this in any of my classrooms and talking about not only does it take less time, but the visual of it, the visualization is going to help students so much to see exactly. Like when you're talking about like you changing those to pink and that's a grammar. In my mind, when I see the pink, I'm going to be like, okay, I really need to work on my grammar. Okay, I'm having a problem with my punctuation. Look how much purple is on this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a visual person too, and the color coding is a big deal. So once you've kind of marked it up here and you get a little overall view of the document, you can click the next button. And this is, I think this is where it gets really cool. And I actually was just talking to our text help person for the area, our regional person, Kay. And she was telling me that they're going to really kind of give this a revamp later on this school year. I'm really excited about it because right now, I'm going to go back just so you can see. So here's the document that you're kind of working up. It kind of started you off with some pre-made corrections. And then when you move to the next screen, it's a rubric. And if you expand each of the rubrics, you have these kind of, these qualities, that you can kind of select for each of these aspects of the document. And then you're going to go through and grade them. So if you need to go through, and you have to mark every single one of them before you can submit their grade, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. Just clicking on things, by the way. And I can see overall, it shows me above, at, above, and below. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. And now it gives me like a little quick, overall report card kind of how the student did. It shows them where they need to work. So Brooke, you were saying you're visual. So
right.
Real quick visual for them. And then I can give some feedback.
I am visual, but I wish that pie chart also had the green, because I'm kind of like the weatherman and I want to look at it the opposite way. Like, yes, there were all those mistakes, but there were 453 words in this. So there should be a green piece of the pie that is larger than those mistakes.
Absolutely.
Just throwing that out there.
Little tidbit for text help when you're redoing RaiCue.
Yeah, you're hearing that? Okay,
Please emphasize the positive.
Yes.
So it kind of summed up what I left on the rubric. It kind of summed up what we gave it in the individual components. And then I get to leave some overall feedback with maybe some more direction or some encouragement. When I hit confirm, I love this.
Me too.
So this report, my students don't have email. So I was wondering what happens when you hit submit. And I was like, what's going to happen? Are they going to have to get an email? My kids are never going to get it. No, it plugs it in right at the top of their document. So they can take a look at their teacher's feedback for them. Right here at the top.
I love that.
Isn't it amazing?
It's very neat. It's very wonderful.
Okay, now look at the document. Do you see the color coding in there?
Yes.
Oh.
So there's no green in there, Brooke. Are you going to be okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So Kay says
60% chance I'm still passing.
Kay says they're building it out further into an extension that will get released later in the school year. There's going to be some analytics. There's going to be some norming. I'm not sure what she means by norming, but that's what she's telling me. And there's going to be the ability, this is really important, the ability to change the rubric.
Oh, wow.
So it's all free. That's really cool.
I'll say, I hope it stays free. Yes.
And then Kay says that she'll submit the feedback that you have about the green.
Yes. Look at that. You may have just changed it.
Oh, she.
And she also said there's a feedback button, and she's right. Just like in Google, there's the feedback button at the bottom right. So if you like that, she's watching, which is awesome.
I love that.
Thanks for watching, Kay. Hey, I want to say what I think norming is, and since you're talking to Kay right now, maybe she can tell me if I'm right about that. I think that means it's going to compare this student's writing to other students' writing that has been pre-evaluated.
Oh.
That sounds really smart. I think that would be a good idea if they did that. So
I think that's what it means. So that's really exciting too. Especially, I mean, I don't know how you guys felt when you first started teaching English, but if I hadn't taught at the college level before I taught high school, I would have been really insecure in grading writing. I learned a lot teaching college where, like there was no one there to tell me I was wrong. So I just kind of figured it out. But grading writing is not easy. I mean, it can be very subjective. So,
well, and this kind of, I'm not saying that I would have loved to spend less time grading writing, but the only reason it took so long is because there's such a vast, there's so many things you can give feedback on. So this kind of simplifies it, narrows it down to a more specific focus. And I think it would make grading a heck of a lot easier and a lot less time consuming.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, it's probably the most exciting technology tool that has come around to help writing teachers ever.
Okay, Amy. So Kay has texted me and she says, yes to your definition of norming, grade to grade within the district as well as across the state.
Oh, wow.
And teacher to teacher.
Wow, that's really impressive.
This is a steal of a deal if this is free. This is a lot of really cool, tech.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons why I love TextHelp so much and their product so much is because even when they make something paid, they give you a very significant feature free. You have a really good opportunity to try the product and deeply understand the quality of it before you buy. And you will know when you're buying it what you're going to be getting with their products. And that's not always true of technology tools, but it is with TextHelp. You can trust this company for sure.
Yes, definitely. So if you're a teacher and you're using, I just want to point this one thing out. This is RaiCue. It's made by TextHelp. If you're, not sure about it and you want to give some of their products a look, definitely check out the Read and Write for Google extension. And go ahead and if you'll just Google it, free teacher upgrade. They give all teachers the premium version of the software, so you can see all the different features that they give you.
You know what? We will put that into the notes too. I have that link saved that you're talking about because every teacher should fill that out.
Absolutely, they can do it every single year, so it's totally free all the time.
Do you guys want to see a draft back that we were talking about just a minute ago?
Yes.
Okay, so I just took our agenda. So I just took this file and I just ran draft back on it. So here is the draft back of the agenda.
See at the top how it's got a little countdown real fast. I like that.
Isn't it cool? So it's like a video of the document being created. And pretty soon, I know, Brooke, there's going to be some images in here. Can't be too long. Oh, maybe it doesn't show us that. I think it's just going to show us the text because I'm like, I know that she did not type a document with nothing but text. That's never happened before.
Never, ever.
I think this would be really valuable for kids to see like where they started with their writing and all the growth that they've made and have a a time span of like I spent 3 hours on this or whatever it may be. And I think that would be really huge for kids to see.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, when you first start writing, it's really hard to believe that it takes as long as it does and that you have to spend so much time on it. And to be able to see a mature writer's document and how long it took for that to actually happen would probably be very, very elucidating, I think.
Agreed.
Sorry for the $10 million word at 8:45 at night, but I couldn't think of another one.
Oh, Sharon McMichael says that reading teachers should also use Fluency Tutor by TextHelp.
Yes,
that's a great one.
I need to look into that and learn more about what Fluency Tutor does. I've heard teachers talk about it before, but I haven't ever really investigated it myself.
Well, one of the things that Fluency Tutor does that like the little teachers are going to be real excited about is it lets the student read aloud. It records their read aloud, and then when the student's done reading aloud, they hit just I'm done, and it sends it right to the teacher.
Wow.
So when we used to have to pull the kids in the hallway with our little guided reading and watch them and follow along with the ruler, now we don't have to do that because the reading is recorded and it plugs it in and sends it right to the teacher.
That is amazing. That is really amazing. All right, you guys, we have about 10 minutes left before we need to give you the code to get your credit for tonight. And I would like for us to spend that time talking a little bit about UnitCheck. And I think Brooke and Carrie are going to talk about that. It's the next thing in our agenda. And Brooke, are you there ready to present?
I am.
I will move over to you.
All right. Okay, so I want to talk to you guys about UnitCheck. It is a plagiarism checker. And I know that there are a few other companies out there, a lot that are schools that are already using some other companies, but it is one of the biggest questions that I get from teachers in trainings is the plagiarism. And I mean, in all honesty, they're just pricey because their usage is high. The coding part of it probably takes a lot of time and effort, but we have been in talks with UnitCheck for a while now, and they're very reasonable price. And they are a great company. They are across the big pond, as they say. And so it does take a little while to get with them on the time schedule occasionally, but they're really responsive and they help us with all our questions when we need it. So I want to get in here and show you how it works. They are the only plagiarism company right now that integrates with Google Classroom. So we know that that is a big win for a lot of teachers. So I'm going to show you how that looks on both steps here. So I'm already in my dashboard. This is the admin dashboard. So this is something that the technology director would set up, not the teacher. And when you go into setting up the Google Classroom, here I've picked 3 different classes that I'm a teacher in. And that means that they're going to be able to run any submission, anything that a student turns into any of those classrooms will then be checked. So for example, the class that I already created, my demo class, here it's showing me the 3 articles that I already submitted that have a report on it. So I could go in and click the reports.
And Brooke, you mean that the teacher wouldn't have to do anything? These reports would be generated automatically?
Yes, these reports are going to come in automatically. So when I click over on, I'm going to try to get over here to the integration piece here so that you guys can see what it looks like for the admin when they're turning it in. But it looks like, there we go. So if I went in to configure my courses, it's very easy. And also I want to show you that you can set your parameters. So here I picked this one class, this class, and this class. So those are my 3 classes that are going to be working on any reports. Anything that is submitted, it's going to check for the plagiarism. If I go into my settings here, it's going to store the original documents. And then I can also go in and say how much of the percentage, what percentage do I want for it to check? 10% or more, 20% or more? Do I want it to be 8 words or more? So I looked a little bit into that to see what the standard is. And it seemed to be pretty much across the board. Depends on what the organization sets for what is actually the plagiarism there. So what does that look like for Google Classroom? So using the new Google Classroom update here for the classroom, I have UnitCheck as a topic. Anything that is turned into these assignments is going to generate a report. Instead of the teacher getting 100 reports when the documents come in, it's going to check either at the due date and the due time. So then within a couple hours of that, it's going to send you a report of all the students so that you can just scroll through, or you can set it up to get those individual reports. What does it look like when the reports come through? It looks like this. It came to my email. I clicked view report. And then y'all thought I had that all laid out. There we go. And then here is my essay. So as you can see, social studies based here. And I went into 4 different free essay sites and copied several paragraphs from those free essay sites and put them into this Google Doc and then ran a report on it. So if you're reading this right now and it doesn't make any sense, it's because I'm admitting that I copied and pasted multiple sources to make a fake essay. Okay. I'm admitting it. So here's my report. It comes through. Let's look at the legend. Anything that is in blue is showing that I've used it as a citation. Anything that comes in with the yellow, it has the references down here. So 24% match for essaysforstudents.com. Yes, that's exactly where I took it from. And same with this one. I took pieces from this one as well. So when I click on here, it's going to show me which part of the essays came from there. So this one, pageforevers.com. And I just think that that's mind-blowing.
It is
I do
really
too.
cool.
That it shows all of that. And we've seen a couple demos with UnitCheck. And one of the things that I knew absolutely nothing about is that students are now going in and changing certain letters inside of the words to a different font, like for different sans scripts, because what it does is it's pulling like it's a different language, a foreign language, and it's stumping.
Plagiarism checkers.
Plagiarism checkers.
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're replacing letters in words with wingdings.
Yes.
Look like letters.
Yeah, that look like letters. And
Right.
then what happens is UnitCheck is able to catch that. It will show similar characters is what it's called. And it will pull out all of those sentences that have the similar characters.
It also shows if a student takes a picture of writing and paste the picture in.
Right.
So picture that you have pasted a paragraph in, you made all the text match, then you screenshotted it, and then you put the screenshot of the text into the essay so that the plagiarism checker couldn't check it. It lets you know that that has been done. And personally, I'm thinking, like, if you did all that, why didn't you just write the essay? Because man, that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. It absolutely is. So inside of that report, it gave me the option to also download my report. And I'm just clicking through here. I can download a PDF report. And this is what that report then looks like. So this is something that I could show as documentation outside of my Google Classroom, something that I could show to a parent if I needed to, or to sit down with a student in another way. And it's going to give me the same thing that you see on the screen. It's going to show those similarities. It's going to show the whole report.
Brooke, do you mind if I switch over and show what it looks like, the personal version of it that you get through Google Docs?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool.
I have that report on it as well.
It's quite different. I almost think it's easier to understand from this view because it's just what it would look like if you paid for this personally as an individual. So it's not the corporate view that Brooke showed you where you are actually, you know, like turning it on for Google Classroom and all that kind of stuff. It's just one teacher has an essay up in front of them and they think, something's not right here. So you wouldn't run this probably on every single student's writing, but here you are, you have added the Google Docs add-on, which you get right here. You go to get add-ons and you added UnitCheck Plagiarism Checker. And you open it up. It opens up in this panel on the right now, like all add-ons do, just like Jess showed you with RaiCue. And then you run it right over here on the side of the document, and it's going to give you that same sort of information that Brooke showed you, but it's going to be kind of like right here next door to the document, to an individual file. So it's kind of the difference between, am I going to run every single file my students have through this thing, or am I just going to use this selectively when I think that plagiarism has occurred? That's the difference in the two ways to access this.
And Amy, I have this pulled up if you want to see that one I just did in there, since that one's dragging a little. Oh, there you go.
Okay, there it went. Okay. So right now it's looking in my library, and I have already uploaded this essay before. So it's telling me it's 100% copied because somebody else has uploaded this essay. So let me turn library off and just look at internet. And then remember I showed you guys how I pasted this Wikipedia information in here. Well, all these other sites also took Wikipedia's information and copied and pasted it. So these are all actually plagiarism of Wikipedia. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So a lot of sites take that Wikipedia text and paste it, but you still know all of that yellow text right there was plagiarized. So it's pretty cool.
It is very cool. Yeah, I like the add-on as well. I think that it's easier for the teacher to see. Again, with the reports, does that one have the download? I'm looking at it here.
Let me see.
I'm looking and I'm clicking.
I don't think so. I think you have to go to the, I think you have to go to UnitCheck.com to get the report.
Okay.
I mean, or do it, I guess, through Classroom.
The other one.
It sends you the email, right?
Yeah, I was just clicking around to see what it would do, and that may be something that after they watch tomorrow, they let us know the answer and we'll put it in the agenda.
Yeah, we will for sure. Well, our time is almost up here.
Yeah, we need to make sure we show the interest spot for that.
Yes, would you please do that? And I'm going to pull up the form to get credit for tonight while you do that.
Okay, so let me share my screen back with you guys. Okay, so if you have the agenda, again, for those who are just tuning in, our agenda for tonight is fried.tech/Taco Bout Writing with a capital T, capital B, and a capital W. That will send you to this agenda. And down here at the bottom, it says sign up at fried.tech/UnitCheck. If you are interested in getting a 30-day free trial for UnitCheck, please fill out this form. This is what we will be sending and sharing with them, and they are going to contact you to get your account set up for a free 30-day trial. And they will be able to help you with anything that you need to get started to looking into UnitCheck if it's something that you really feel would be beneficial in your classroom.
Really cool. So please use our form to contact them so they'll know that you heard about it from us, because we have promised them to talk about it tonight.
Yes.
And I'd love for them to hear from you. They're really excited to work with you guys, and they've been a super fun company to work with. All right, I am going to give you guys a way to get credit for this webinar. Thanks to whoever asked this on I think it was Facebook, because I really didn't think about doing this before, and there's no reason why we can't give you credit for attending this webinar. So to get your 1 hour CPE credit, we are a Texas certified CPE provider. Your state, if you're not in Texas, may accept this as well. They probably do accept it. At least in Texas, we're not super picky about where you get that from, but in case you need to know, it's official. So in this certificate section of the agenda, you're going to fill out this form. Now, I also was kind of excited about this. This is a pre-filled form. So you have to fill out the stuff that's unique to you, but down here at the bottom, it's all filled out for you already. So you don't have to fill.
Use a pre-filled form.
Isn't it cool? It's really cool. So when you're in your form editing, you have the option to set up a pre-filled form, and that's what this is. And then people just put in their unique information, and the rest of it's all there for you. So,
I'm I did not know that.
What'd you say?
I mean, I've seen the option a million times, and I thought, well, why would I ever do that?
It's really cool. I was proud that I thought of
video coming soon.
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to do that. So there is a code that you need to put into this form, and you can't submit it unless you have the correct code. So this is not going to be in the agenda forever, because we want to make sure you watched and learned something, hopefully. So this is the code for those of you guys watching tonight. If you want to get a certificate for this, it's fried-webinar-1011. fried-webinar-1011. So that is the code. If you put that into the pre-filled form linked right here, then you will get a certificate from friEdTechnology for 1 hour of PD. And you know what? If that's perfectly great with us, please feel free to do that. It will be on YouTube probably within the hour. All right, I think we are finished here tonight. Anybody have any last words to add before we sign off?
I do. Just something that was asked in the chat over there.
Oh, go
Efren,
ahead.
I answered your question on RaiCue. Whenever I was telling you during sign up you chose to be a teacher, you asked what would it look like for the student. If you said, no, I'm not a teacher, it would say, okay, let's score your document. And it would just take you through that very first part where the color coding is, but it wouldn't do anything else. So students can self-check if they want to by using RaiCue. They just won't be able to grade a rubric or have a report at the end. They'll just be able to see the color-coded part. So there you go. I double-checked it for you.
Jess.
Awesome.
So I want to answer Scott's question real quickly. Scott, the URL that Brooke read off just now, fried.tech/talk about writing, is going to take you to the YouTube video, which you're already watching. So you want the fried.tech/talk about writing agenda. And that's what's going to get you to the agenda so that you can get the credit. Brooke, Carrie, Jessica, thank you guys so much for joining tonight. I always learn something new with you guys, and I'm glad that I surprised you with the pre-filled form. And we'll have to make that part of our next taco bout.
Yes, definitely.
All the crazy things you can do with forms that you never thought about.
Yes.
All right. Well, you guys have a good evening, and thanks for joining us. And we will see you again at a date not too far in advance. So keep track of social media for our next taco bout session.
Good to
Bye,
see you
y'all.
guys.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.